Okay, so we're in week 13. We covered the material in week 13. Basically, we talk about matrix multiplication and inverses and how to use that to solve systems of linear equations. I realize that might seem something difficult for you, and I'll be honest with you, finding an inverse in general is difficult, right? We'll keep it simple. And what I mean by that is we're going to go through examples that are doable. Now, certainly when examples get more difficult, you're going to have to learn how to use a computer to do that. And of course, that has also been discussed in class as well. So where are we now? Hopefully you've studied the material. And by studying the material, the hope is this, that you've understood what was presented to you and that you're willing to try problems on your own without assistance. All right, so what I'm going to do today is go over the supplemental problems, and you should have done these already. And by doing that, you're going to reinforce what we've discussed in class and prepare you to take exams and to finish the web assigned assignments. So I'm going to switch over to a whiteboard and we'll do one problem at a time. All right, so give me 1 second. Okay, so the first problem, right, number one, what they want you to do is find the product. Now, before you do that, I want to make sure you know the dimensions of these matrices. Let me write that down for you. The first matrix is 2 rows by 3 columns. The second matrix is 3 rows by 3 columns. These internal dimensions must match, and they do, and this will be the result. What I mean by that, the result is going to be a 2 by 3. So I know it's going to have 2 rows and 3 columns. 2 rows, 3 columns. I got to compute this, and certainly, I know it may seem difficult to you, but it's basically a bunch of arithmetic. So this is going to be row 1 times column 1. I'm going to write that on the side for you. So it's going to be 1 times 1, which is 1, plus minus 3 times minus 3, which is 9, plus 2 times 4, which is 8. What is that going to give you? It's going to give you 18. So I did row 1 times column 1. Now I'm going to do row 1 times column 2. And what are you going to get there? Well, you're going to get 2, and then you're going to get 6, and then you're going to get minus 10. Now, what's that going to give you? If you look at it, 2 plus 6 is 8. 8 minus 10 is minus 2. All right. Now what are we going to do? We're going to do, let's see, we're going to do row 1 times column 3. All right, so let's go through that. So that's going to be 3. Let's see, plus 3, plus 12. What's it going to give you? It's going to give you 18. We'll check these answers later. All right, now what am I going to do? I'm going to concentrate on row 2 now. This is row 2. I'm going to do row 2 times column 1, times column 2, so forth and so on. Let's write that down. So I'm going to do now row 2 times column 1. And what are you going to get there? You're going to get minus 5. Let's see, minus 3 and minus 8. What's that going to give you? Minus 16. Now what I'm going to do? Row 2 times column 2. All right, let's go through that. So it's going to give you that minus 10, and then you're going to get minus 2, and then you're going to get plus 10. What is that going to give you? Minus 2. Again, we'll check this with the key later. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to do row 2 times column 3. All right, let's go through that. And what are you going to get there? Let's take a look. You're going to get minus 15. Let's see, you can get minus 1, and you get minus 12. What's going to give you, let's see, 15, 16, 17, minus 28. Write that down. Now what's critical now? Make sure you got the right answer. 18, 18, minus 2, minus 2, 18, 18, minus 16, minus 2, minus 28. If you're not getting the right answers, all I can say is try again. All right, keep doing it. All right, it's tedious. I want to be honest with you, typing this into a computer may actually be more tedious. All right, As matrices get larger, though, this becomes incredibly difficult to do by hand. And that's why we want to use machines at some point and learn how to use a machine. All right, let's go to number 2. Number 2 says, in general, matrix multiplication is not commutative, but they give me A and they give me B, and they want me to actually compute the product A times B and then B times A. Again, it might seem tedious for you, but my take here is that I would like to be able to do it. All right, so I'm gonna do A times B first. I'm gonna write that down for you. A times B first. I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be, well, the first matrix is 3 by 3, and the second matrix is 3 by 3. So what is he gonna get? Is it, the internal dimensions are matching, and the result's gonna be a 3 by 3. All right. Now I'm gonna try to do this one a little quicker, and I'll write down side work. And what I mean by side work, I'm just going to, sort of like write down the arithmetic and then erase it. So I'm going to do row 1, column 1. That's going to be 0. And let's see, plus 12. The only point out we're doing row 1. Oops, made a mistake already. Got to go back up. Sorry about that. We're doing row 1 times column 1. And let's go through it. You're going to get 0, 6, and 6, which is 12. Let me cross that out. Let me do the next one. Row 1 times column 2. 1 minus 8 minus 3. What does that give me? Let's see, minus 10. All right, now I'm going to do minus 2. I'm doing row 1, column 3 now. Minus 2, minus 6, and a 0. That's going to give me minus 8. Okay, let's keep going. And let's do the next one. Let's do row 2 times column 1. 0, minus 9, and a 4. What does that give you? Minus 5. Let's do the next one. Minus 4 plus 12 minus 2. That's going to give me plus 6. All right, let's do the next one. I'll make erasures later, by the way. That's going to give me what? Minus 4 times minus 2 is 8, and then a 9, and then a 0. That's going to give me 17. All right, let's do the next one. So I'm going to get 0 minus 6. Let's see, minus 6, which is minus 12. All right, and let me just cross that out. And let me go to the next one. That's going to be 1 plus 8 plus 3. That's going to be 12. And let's do, let's see, the next one, which is going to be, let's see, minus 2, and then 6, and then, let's see, 0, right? What does it give you? It gives you 4. All right. Now, what I want to do is I just want to, I'm going to switch screens again, and let me just do that quickly. Because I want to point out the reason I want to do this is that for some students are looking at this and wondering, gee, I wonder if that's right. And, I often wonder too, do I do arithmetic correctly? Do I get distracted and not be able to do it correctly? And it does happen. So I want to go to Wolfram Alpha, a little bit different today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the multiplication. It might seem difficult, but let's type in our matrix. And what's that going to be? 1 minus 2. Oops, I'm sorry about that. And then you get 3. And you should be doing this as you're doing homework, practicing how to use a machine. It's a really appropriate thing to be doing at this stage of the game, including if you're getting it wrong. At least you know you got it wrong. And this 1, 2, and then minus 3. All right, I want to see if I did this right. I'm going to get this over here. And again, someone says, I don't know if I can do that. And I see the matrix now. Let me make sure I typed it right. 1 minus 2, 3. And then minus 4, 3, 2. I'm seeing that's A. And 1, 2, minus 3. And now what I'm going to do is multiply it by another matrix. I'll put a star down. And I'll put another matrix down. And what's the other matrix going to be? That other one, which is 0, 1, minus 2. I'm looking at my notes, by the way. And you should have notes as well. and that's going to be minus 343. And again, if you make a mistake in typing, it's not going to blow up, but you're going to get wacky answers and you're not going to be able to agree with anything. So part of that is just practicing typing, I guess. And let's just take a look. And what do I see? I see the multiplication and I see the result. I just want to make sure that what I wrote down for you is the same thing. And you're practicing here. You want to make sure you got the right thing, but nothing in the notes about what the right answer is. That's why I'm using software. So I'm looking at my whiteboard and it says, 12 minus 10 minus 8. And it says minus 5. It says 6 and 17. I'm getting pretty good. Minus 12, 12, and 4. So I feel good about this. Now what I want to do is I want to do the commutative operation to see what the result is. And I still have my whiteboard out. And I'm going to just copy paste. And I'm going to copy this to my whiteboard. And we'll go back to whiteboard in a second. And that's going to be minus 6, minus 1, 8, and then minus 16, 24, and minus 10, and 6 minus 7, and 4. I'm going to switch back now to the my other screen, which is the whiteboard. Again, I want to go through what I just did. So I did this one by hand. I did it by hand. However, there was no answer in the answer key. So what did I have to do? I had to check it. How did I check it? I checked by using Wolfram Alpha. Now, by the way, you should also verify that I did this by Wolfram Alpha. Here's what you need to do, though. You need to also do this by hand. Do by hand. What are we saying? Matrix B times matrix A. What do we know about those things? They're not equal. Matrix multiplication in general is not commutative. Let's go to the next question. And next question is, this is going to be number 3. Let me just blow this up a little bit. And it says, this is a useful formula now. And just reading it to you, it says, the formula by finding the inverse, the formula for finding an inverse of a 2x2 matrix, and they give you the matrix A with corresponding entries, A, B, C, D. So column 1 is AC, column 2 is BD, row 1 is AB, row 2 is CD. And they say that you can find an inverse by a formula, and they tell you this is the formula, all right, for finding the inverse. Now, someone goes, how could you do that? It's easy to do. I mean, it's not difficult to come up with the formula. The problem is when they get bigger, the formulas become much more complicated. There's no doubt about it. Something keeps popping up, though, and I want to tell you what keeps popping up. It looks like this thing over here, this AD, I'll write this down for you, minus BC, keeps popping up all over the place. And it's what's known as a determinant. Now, for this thing to have an inverse, you should realize that this cannot be equal to 0. Now, what does this thing look like? It looks like, product of diagonals minus the product of those diagonals over there, right? For a 2x2, it's not bad. All right. Now, there's visual understandings what determinants are, but right now, this is just a formula, and they want me to use the formula to compute the inverse of A. So I'm going to write this down for you. So what's A inverse? Let's write this down. Well, it's going to be 1 over, and we'll do the arithmetic, the product of the diagonals. Well, that's going to be 7 times minus 12. I'll write this down for you. Minus the product of the other diagonal, which is minus 5 and 6. We'll do that later. Times, I'm kind of looking at the formula. It looks like, the diagonal, AD has just been reversed. So what would that be? Minus 12 and 7. And the other guy, it just looks like they took the opposites. I'll put this over here. Great, the mistakes happen. Let's go through the arithmetic. And what are you going to get over here? Well, let's see. 7 times minus 12, new side arithmetic for you, is minus 70, minus 84. And then you're going to get, let's see, minus a minus 30, which is plus 30, right? Which is minus 54. All right, so I'll put this over here. So this is minus 1 over 54. Minus 12, 5, minus 6, and 7. I'm going to multiply it. And the reason that it really doesn't look right the way it's written. And let's take a look at that. You would get, you get 12 54s, right? I'll write this on the side for you. We'll check the key later. I want to reduce that. And I'm going to say, let's see, I think 6 goes into that, right? It's 2 ninths. I'll write that down for you. And the next one's going to be 6 over 54, which is going to be 1/9. All right, let's keep going. Next one's going to be minus 5 over 54. Again, we'll check the key later. And next one will be minus 7 over 54. Mistakes happen. That's why we want to check it. Let's take a look. And let's see. 2 ninths, 2 ninths, 1/9, 1/9, minus 5 54s, minus 5 54s, minus 7 54s, minus 7 54s. All right. So this one over here, it says, if possible, find the value of the constant k such b would equal A inverse. All right. Well, if that's true, what I really have to do is just the product. I'm going to write this down for you. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for A dot, I'm not done, sorry, times B. And this should equal this thing if they're inverses. All right. Well, let's write this one down. What is A times B? Well, it's going to be this times this. I'll write that down for you. So what are you going to get over there? You would get, let's see, 20 38 plus 6k. All right. Now, someone says, what is that supposed to equal? It's supposed to equal 1. Let's write this down. 20 over 38 plus 6k is supposed to equal 1. Let's go through the work. 20 38 plus 6k equals 38 38. Well, I'm going to subtract 20 38 from both sides. You get 6k equals, you know what? Let me just get my eraser out because I realize it's going to interfere with my work over here. So I'm sorry about that. I'll put that back down again for you. So 6k would equal 18 38. And then I divide both sides by 6, I would get 3 38. So now I'm going to say k is 3 38. All right. Now, the problem now is I just want to make sure that this is true. All right. I could say anything and it may not be true. Let me start to erase my work over here. I don't need it. I know what k is now. And I'm going to start verifying it now. Let's put the next one down. And again, so what is the next one going to be? I want it to be a 0. And what are you going to get? Well, minus 4 times, let's see, we're doing row 1 times column 2 now. That's going to give me minus 12 19ths plus, let's see what I get over here. That would be, let's see what I got, 12 19ths, and which is 0. This is good news. All right, let me get my eraser out. I'll do the next one. And the next one's going to be that, 3 times minus 5 38, which is minus 15 38, plus 5k. And with 5k, that would be 15 38. Again, this is what we believe k is. That would give me 0, which is what I wanted. My eraser out. Let's keep going. Let's do the next one. And the next one's going to be, let's see, 9/19. And then what do you get? Plus 10/19. Well, that's 19/19, which is 1. So I'm pretty much convinced that this is a correct answer. Let's look at the answer key, see if we have it, and we do. All right, that's good news. All right, number 5, find the inverse. All right, and again, for a lot of students, finding the inverse is it's painful. I agree with you. I think it's somewhat painful as well. There are formulas for it. What I'm going to try to get through to you is that there's many ways to do it, and what I want to do is I want to do what was taught in class, and I'll write this one down for you. And 1 minus 1, little bar there. 1 minus 1 1 1 1 1. I'm going to put the identity matrix over here, and we're going to try to transform it. And bottom line is we're trying to get this guy over here to be the identity matrix. Let's take a look at it. And kind of looking at it, what I'm going to do is, it's kind of simple things if I can. I will be making some erasures though. I'm going to do row 1 plus row 2. And I'm going to give it, let's see what I'm going to give it to. I'll give it back to row 1. Right, let me write that down for you. That would be 2 0 0 1 1 0. All right. Now what I'm noticing is that I kind of almost have it, and I'm going to just get my eraser out, and we'll talk about it later. But I love getting those zeros, by the way. Sometimes we make mistakes, though. I really want to encourage you, when you make mistakes, try to fess up to it. All right, let me erase that. Again, if you have your notebooks out, you shouldn't be erasing. You should just go to another piece of paper. I want to keep it on the same sheet of paper, though. And let's take a look at it. And what I'm going to do now is, let's see. I'm going to do, let's see, row 2 minus row 3. Give it, let's see. I'm going to give it back to row 2. Let's see if we can do that. Row 2 is 1 minus 1, 1, 0, 1, 0. Minus row 3 would be minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, 0, 0, minus 1. Kind of add that together, what do you get? You get 0, minus 2, 0, 0, 1, minus 1. I'm going to give that to row 2. So I'm going to erase row 2 now. It's dangerous to do this. I know that. What do you mean dangerous? I lose all information when I erase something, which is what makes it so dangerous. Let's see, 0 minus 2, 0, 0, 1 minus 1. Get my eraser out. Danger zone, erasing work. You shouldn't do this on exams, by the way. We're just going through the work though. All right, let's take a look at it. And I got to do some more work over here. And I think I'm getting pretty close to it. All right, so I'm gonna do 2 row 3 plus row 2, give it to row 2. All right, let's write this down. 2, 2, 2, 0, 0, 2, 0, minus 2, 0, 0, 1, minus 1. 2, 0, 2, right? 0, 1, 1. I'm giving that to row, I'm sorry, I don't want to give it to row 2. That would be crazy. I'm going to give that to row 3. Let me get my eraser out. And let me get my eraser. And let me see if I did that. 202. Let's write that down. 202, 0, 1, 1. I'm going to get my eraser out again. Erase those bits over here. And again, we're going to check the answer in the end. It's very tedious, though. And I'm not saying it's not tedious, but it is tedious. let's take a look at it. I'm going to do minus row 1 plus row 3 and give it to row 3. Let's see what you get. Minus 2, 0, 0, minus 1, 0. Well, 2, 0, 2, 0, 1, 1. And you get 0, 0, 2, minus 1, 0, and a 1. And I said I was going to give that to row 3, right? Let's erase it. And that's what we have. We have 0, 0, 2, minus 1, 0, and 1. All right, what am I going to do now? Well, I'm going to write down what I want to do. 1/2, row 1, give it to row 1. Minus 1/2, row 2, give it to row 2. 1/2, row 3, give it to row 3. Fairly easy to do. Let's go through that and getting a little bit more comfortable with this. Let's write this down. This becomes 1. This becomes 1/2. This becomes 1/2, right? This becomes 1. Whoops. This becomes minus 1/2, and this becomes plus 1/2. Let me erase that. And this third row, this becomes 1. Erase it. Minus 1/2 and 1/2. So the inverse, I'll write it over here and then we'll check it. The inverse, we'll call this A. And A inverse is going to look like 1/2, 1/2, 0, 0, minus 1/2, 1/2, minus 1/2, 0, and 1/2. I can't tell you sometimes I make mistakes, but the bottom line is you definitely want to check it with the key because mistakes happen. And what does the key say? 1/2, 1/2, 0, 0, minus 1/2, 1/2, minus 1/2, 0, and 1/2. Now, if this was an exam question, I know key to check this was, what I would do is I would check A times A inverse is actually equal to what I want it to be. And if it's not, I know I made a mistake somewhere. All right, but anyway, we have a key. We just check it with the key. Let's go to the third example, and let's take a look. And third example says verify. All right, so what do they want you to verify? What we just did. All right, what we just did. So let's go through the verification process. And I'm going to say it can't be that difficult, but for some students, arithmetic is difficult. But let's do, this I3 first. I'm kind of looking at it. And I'm going to try to verify that this is actually the identity matrix. So let me just remind you what we're doing. This, I'm getting better. There's no doubt about it. And so much better, I could probably do it in my head. So 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 0 is 1. Worked beautifully. Next one is going to be, let's see, 1/2 minus 1/2, which is 0, and 0. That worked beautifully. Next one is going to be minus 1/2 plus 1/2. Oh, 0 again. Looks good. What's next one going to be? Let's see, 0, minus 1/2 plus 0 again. Then what do you get? 0, 1/2, and 1/2, 1. Bingo. Next one, you get 0, minus 1/2, 0 again. This is good news. Just doing multiplication in my head now. Getting better. Minus 1/2, 0, 1/2, 0. Minus 1/2, 0, 1/2, 0. Minus 1/2, no, 1/2, 0, and 1/2, 1. This is verified. I would also recommend you verify this, and I want to be honest with you, it does verify. We want to indicate that you should try that on your own now. Make sure it verifies out beautifully. All right. So what does this one say? It says use matrix multiplication and inverses to do the problem. All right. So let's go through it. All right. Let's go through it. So what they want you to do is write this down as a problem that is going to require the use of inverses. So I want to write down what the matrix equation looks like. The coefficient matrix can be 4, 2, 8, minus 2, 2, minus 5, 3, 5, minus 2. All right, repeat, we just put the coefficient down of these matrices. It's 4, 2, 8, minus 2, 2, minus 5, 3, 5, minus 2. Now we're going to put down the variable matrix, which is x, y, and z. And we're going to put down these constants, which is 6, 6, 52. Okay. It says solve using matrix multiplication and inverses. So really what I'm doing is writing down an answer very quickly now. X, Y, Z is going to be equal to the inverse of this matrix times the constants. Now, I got to be honest with you. A lot of students, they struggle with that. There's no doubt about it. What I want to do is, again, I want to switch screens, and I want to show you how to do this in Mathematica. All right. So we spent some time finding inverses. We know it's tough. Let's go to Mathematica. Just give me 1 second. And I got to get to Mathematica, right? I'm sorry, I say Mathematica. I really mean the Wolfram Alpha, because it's, like I say, it's the greatest software in the world, but it's not bad. So let's write this down. 4 minus 2, 3, and let's see what we get over here. And 225, right? Don't we have an answer key to look at too, which is good news for me, because I often make mistakes even copying. And 8 minus 5 minus 2. I just want to make sure I entered the right matrix. And let's see what we got over here. 4 minus 2, 3. 225. I'm just looking at my notes, by the way. 8 minus 5 minus 2. And I was wondering just how bad the inverse looks. And just see if we can do that. I'm going to use the inverse notation, which is minus 1. And again, I'm just poking around. I want to see what happens. And it does give me the inverse. It looks like it might be complicated to compute. Be my guest. What I want to do is I want to multiply it, though, that inverse by something. And what am I going to multiply it by? A matrix. And what is the matrix? Well, it's going to be 6, the first row. The second row is 6. And the third row is 52. And let's see how it does. It gives me the triple. I'll tell you what the triple is going to get. It's going to give me X, Y, Z. And the triple appears to be 10, 8, and minus 6. X is 10, Y is 8, and Z is minus 6. Worked out beautifully. All right. So let's take a look at the actual answer key. And I want to go back to that. I'll do another share with you. Just give me a second here. All right. So what do we do? Let me point out what we did over here. Oops, forgot to put notation down here. This is minus 1. So I want to just emphasize what we did over here. This is the solution to the problem. However, I did this using Wolfram Alpha. When I used Wolfram Alpha, I did the multiplication. And what did I get? I got this an answer, 10, 8, and minus 6. And I verified that that was in fact correct. All right. So I'm going to do number 8, all right, by using Wolfram Alpha. All right, I'm going to switch screens again. And let's take a look. And let's write this down. I got the code already, right? What's the first row? 1, 1 minus 1. You can imagine how useful this would be if the system was huge, that this would go very quickly for you. When I mean huge system, like, 30 by 30 matrices. Let's see, next row would be 1 minus 1, 1. And the next row is 1, 1, 1. Now that's a familiar matrix, isn't it? And the constant matrix is going to be 0, 2, 6. Don't worry. Again, I say this a lot to you. If you make mistakes, mistakes will just pop up as errors, and you can always correct them if you want. And I'm going to say I'm doing it. And, I'll write the work down for you in a second, but I just want to write down what Wolfram tells me the answer is. It says x is 1. Whoops. I'm going to write this down. X is 1. And y is 2. And z is 3. Again, I want to point out they report it as a triplet over here. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I'm going to switch back to the whiteboard and put the work down for you now. Okay, so I want to point out what we did in Wolfram Alpha. When we used Wolfram Alpha, we found these answers over here. Let's write the work down now. And what's the work going to be? And it's pretty easy to write down. It's going to be x, y, z is equal to 1, 1, 1, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, 1, inverse times 0, 2, 6. We did this arithmetic on Wolfram Alpha, and we came up with 1, 2, 3. All right, let's go to the answer key. And again, when I say go to the answer key, I really mean that. You go to the answer key, you look at the answer key, make sure that you can agree with what's given to you. And what's given to you, just check it off for you. They say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right in the answer key. Let's go to the next question. By the way, you may recognize we've done that inverse before, right? You could use it. You want to practice doing inverses. I just don't want to bore you with the details of it. And it is tedious to watch. It's like watching paint dry. All right. Let's go to the next thing. And number 9. All right. Number 9 is like a tough one. All right. A word problem. I'm going to put a little box around it. And I'm going to pull this on the side. Get rid of this thing over here. And let's talk about it. All right. In stages, by the way. By the way, I want to point out the next problem, number 10, is an optional problem, but it's more realistic. It's something that would be given in a situation if you were a manager of a company. It's a typical type problem. You're given a limited amount of resources and you got to do something with it. It's a tough problem though, right? You may want to look at it. It's more realistic though. All right. Okay, this one, number 9, it's an easy problem. I'm going to say it's easy. Hopefully you understand what you've read. It says, consider a company that specializes in potting soils. Each bag of potting soil for seedlings requires 2 units of sand. Let me write this down for you. So seedlings, what do they require? Each bag, so this is a seedling bag, requires 2 units of sand. Let's put this over 2 units of sand and 1 unit of loam. All right, so if I'm going to make a seedling bag, it takes 2 units of sand, 1 unit of loam. And then it goes each bag of potting soil, right? Just reading, requires 1 unit of sand. No, you don't need to write that down. And 2 units of loam. It's already written down for you, by the way. All right, then it goes on here. It says, let's say each bag of potting soil requires 1 unit of sand, 2 units of loam. Oh, I forgot about the peat moss and 1 peat moss. And other guy got one unit of peat moss, right? All right. Oh, hardwood. All right, let's say hardwood, right? 2 units of sand. 2 units of loam, and 2 units of peat moss. Okay, let me read it again to you. Each bag of potting soil for seedlings requires 2 sand, 1 loam, and 1 peat moss. Each bag of potting soil for general potting requires 1 unit of sand, 2 units of loam, and 1 unit of peat moss. Each bag of potting soil for hardwood requires 2 units of sand, 2 units of loam, and 2 units of peat moss. All right. Find the number of bags of the 3 types of potting soil. I'll just say X bags of this one, Y bags of this one, and Z bags of this one over here. All right. Now, what do they give me? It says I need to find those values, X, Y, and Z, given I have this in raw materials. And I want to write this on the side for you. I have 750 units of sand. That's all I have. I have 850 units of loam. And I have 600 units of peat moss. Well, let's write this down. And this is going to be the tough part for a lot of students to write this stuff down. All right. So let's just talk about the seedlings. All right. So, I'm going to talk about, the seedlings and the potting and the hardwood. All right. I know the seedlings requires, every bag I make requires 2 units of sand. So I'll write this over here. So every bag requires 2 units of sand. We're talking about sand now. And every bag of the potting soil requires 1 unit of sand. And every bag of the hardwood is going to require 2 units. This is sand. How much sand do I have? 750. All right, let's go to loam. There's 850 loam. Every bag of seedling, 1 bag of loam. Every bag of the potting requires 2 bags or 2 units of loam. And the last guy, which is the hardwood, also requires 2 of the loam. How about the peat moss? There's 600 units. What do you get over here? Well, let's take a look. Looks like 1, 1, and 2. Okay, let's just go write this down for you. And it looks pretty simple. I'll write this way over here. 2x plus y plus 2z equals 750. X plus 2y plus 2z equals 850. X plus y plus 2z equals 600. All right. This is what you're required to do to solve the problem. Now, of course, what I want to do is solve the problem. And I have the answer to that. I kind of like reduced row echelon form. I'm going to put that down for you. I'm going to use an augmented matrix. 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, line 750, 850, 600. All right, what am I going to do over here? Let's take a look. I'm going to do, let's see, minus 1 times row 3 plus row 2 and give it to row 3. Write that down for you. Minus 1, minus 1, minus 2, minus 600. Let's see, 1, 2, 2, 850. That would give me 0, 1, 0. What would you get there? That would give you 250, right? All right, so if someone says, what are you going to do with that? I'm going to write it down. This is an interesting thing. I'm going to give it to row 3, right? So let me erase row 3. Again, I want to point out that mistakes happen, and this is why problems take so long to solve for some people, that they make mistakes. They don't know they made a mistake. We have an answer key, though, and that really makes it really productive for us to look at it. And I know what that means. That means, looking at it, it means y equals 250. And that's not bad to know that. All right. Now I'm going to do something else with the problem. Let me get my eraser out. And let's look around for something else to do. All right. And let's take a look. And I'm going to see what I want to do here. I'm going to do row, whoops, minus 1 times row 1 plus row 2 and give it to row 2. Let's write that down. Minus 2, minus 1, minus 2, minus 750, 0, 2, 2, 850. That's going to give me minus 2, 1, 0, 100. All right. So what I want to do now is erase row 2. And put it in. What's it going to be? Minus 2. Whoops. Minus 2, 1, 0, 100. I'm going to erase around. Erase all this business over here. Oh yeah, it's not good to do that, but I need room. So let's write down what I know. I'm going to say I know y is 250. We'll talk about what that means later. I'm going to use row 2 now, and it says minus 2x plus a y, which is 250, is equal to 100. Minus 2x is equal to minus 150, and x would be equal to 75. I'll put that down for you. We'll check the answers later, by the way. What I'm going to do now is, I guess I'll use row 1. We got 2x, which is 150, plus 1y, that's 250, plus 2z is equal to 750. Let's see, 150 and 250, that's 400, plus 2z equals 750. 2z is equal to 350, and z is now going to be equal to what? 150, 175. All right, so I don't even know what those letters mean anymore. You go back, and what does it mean? X is 75, Y is 250, and Z is 175. All right, let's go back and make sure you understand what it says. All right, we'll look at the answer too. It says over here that we can now make 75 bags of the seedlings. I think I made a mistake somewhere. 250 bags of the potting soil. Yep, I got that right. Boy, I made a mistake somewhere, didn't I? And hardwood, I made a mistake. And I want to tell you the mistake I've made. I got to correct it. And we got to look back at it. And that's a problem for me because I wasted a whole bunch of work over here. And I got to do it again. And that's a problem. I didn't get the right answer. Let me go back and erase. I'm going to erase a lot of stuff here. And I know I made a mistake. And it's good that I make mistakes. I'll be honest with you, the reason it's good to make a mistake is so I can go back and do it again. Oops. All right, let's put a matrix down. 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, bar, 750, 850, and 600. And I believe what we did initially was let's see what I did initially. So I'm going to say minus row 3 plus row 2 and give it to row 3. And let's see if I can do that. Minus 1, minus 1, minus 2, minus 600. And you get 1, 2, 2, 850. And when you get there, 0, 1, 0. And that's going to give you, let's see, 600, 250. Let me get my eraser out. And let me put the eraser down now. Give it to row 3, right? Erase this business over here. 0, 1, 250. Can get my eraser out again. Don't panic. We'll get this. And we have y equals 250. I can go back over here. And I certainly am agreeing with that. All right, so 250. And certainly looking back over the notes, it does say 250s at the general. All right. I made a mistake in the other ones. I got to figure out what happened over there. And I'll take a look at that. And we'll go, certainly, I'm not going to say slowly through it, but I want to make sure I get the right answers. And I'm going to do, let's see, minus row 1 plus row 2 and give it to row 2. Let's write this down. Minus 2, minus 1, minus 2, minus 750. And let's see, 1, 2, 2, 850. Let's put this over here. This will give me minus 1, 1, 0, and I would give you 100. I'm going to write that down now for you. My eraser out. Row 2. And what do you get? Minus 1, 1, 0, and 100. Get my eraser out. And let's write this down. So what do you get? Minus x plus y equals 100 minus x equals minus 150, and x is 150 now. Let's see if I did. And I'm going to erase that. I made a mistake before, but I guess I'll erase that now. This over here needs to be erased over here. Oops. And let's see if I got that. Yeah, I got that now. And let's see if I get the other one, all right? And so what are you going to do with that? And I'll take that first row. And the first row would be 2x's, which is 300, plus the y, which is 250, plus 2z's equals 750. And that's going to give me, what, 550 plus 2z, 750. And they get 2z. And 550, that's 200, and z would be 100. Go back over here. I'm going to erase this now. And again, I know I said this a lot to you. It's good I do make mistakes because I know you guys make mistakes too when you're doing work. And I got it right now. All right. So the mistakes have been corrected. And I'm not sure where they came from. Well, that eraser is probably not a good idea. All right. So that calls it quits on that. We did a little bit of, problems. I'm not going to do number 10, but you can read through that. A more complicated problem, but it's one that requires some effort. I do want to point out if you're working for a firm and they have questions like this, initially it's going to take you some time to get through it, but hopefully over time you get better at these problems over here and you start to realize that machines can solve these problems as well. It's formulating the system that's going to be tough for a lot of students though, and you practice it, see if you can do it. All right, thank you.